everybody. Gosh, it's Sunday, come around so quickly, 3 o'clock. And here we are, can you believe it, on our second quilt. Now our first one, it took us quite a while, but you know, actually 14, 15 weeks doing one a week. I think it was pretty good going. And the results sort of speak for themselves. They're absolutely fabulous. And of course, you've all been using different fabrics, so they look completely different. This one's going to be pretty much, when I say the same, obviously different images and we're going to look at different things. But yeah, we're going to do a flower a week. I might even actually do 2, depending on how far we get. And then how to put the quilt blocks together and all that kind of thing. So here we go then, Sanntangle Flower Quilt. Hello everybody, thank you for joining me. And I know it's a lovely day outside and I thought everybody be sitting out there and you can watch me later. I'll talk to myself, it's fine. So here we go, this is the quilt. And of course, this fabric here is William Morris fabric, which Sewing Street very kindly gave me some so I could create the quilt, and they obviously put a bundle together. So if you wanted to do the quilt exactly as is, that's what they offered. And of course, here's one of the quilt blocks. 1 second, there we go. And that's actually using the same fabrics that were on Sewing Street. And of course, what we're actually going to be working on, if I just bring this one in, here we go, is all of these. Now they didn't include this. This is a Sewing Street pattern. It's an extra wide fabric and it just went really nicely. And I was able to do the whole of the back in it as well. So, you know, whatever you want to do. I've got a couple of samples, I'll say samples here. I'm going to put that on the floor, but you can guarantee Benji's going to come and lie on it. This one's a little bit of a practice one I did in blues. It was just some fat quarters I'd got, and you can see just having something a bit different. But again, having that slightly plainer one in the middle, because that's where you're going to be drawing, okay? The one I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using, I've actually got some of them done already. This is one of my blocks. So I'm going with the red, white and black kind of theme. Let's just move that a little bit more, just so you get the idea. And I'm going to go for a double size quilt. So I know in the instructions, you've got 20 blocks. So that's what it suggests to do. But I want to make a double size. So I've actually got 20 of these made up. And my next one, so the ones I'm going to work with you guys, is a plain fabric instead. See that one? It's got like a tangly pattern in it. So I'm going to go with a plain in the middle. And where this one is red, I'm going to change it to the black. And then the red where you've got the white. And then I'm going to put the white on the edge. I'm still going to have these 2 corners the same, so they all match and create this lovely little squares. I'm going to have red, red, and then the 2 patterns that side. So there's a lot of things you can do. So if you want to actually do the double size like I'm going to, then you've just got to have double the amount of fabric, and we'll work as we go. But if you're going to stick with the actual quilt size that's in here, our finished one, here we go, is going to be 45.5 times 37.5 approximately. So it's a little bit smaller than, or similar-ish size than the last one we did. So it depends what you want to do. If you feel like you want to go into to do that, you can. But okay, now today I'm not going to be putting any interfacing on my fabric. We did that with the last one. There was a lot of tangling to do and it was your first one. So I wanted to make sure you got something quite structured. So this time I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to have it as the fabric. But I have got 2 pieces. So a nice solid surface. I've got a placemat here. It's not going to go through the 2 pieces, but you could always have one as a bit of spare. And I just find if I'm doing it without interfacing, it's a little bit easier to draw when you've got a little bit more padding behind it. Okay? So what do I have to draw with? My regular pen, I've actually got an 03. What I suggest, if you're going to use an 03, use the 03 all through. If you're going to use the 2, use the 02 all the way through. I've got a friction pen, and that's in case I want to draw something, and it's almost like having a pencil. You can then use an iron to rub this away, but of course test your fabric first. And we might use that, we might not. It's just there in case. And of course I've got my Derwent Inktense pencils. I'm going to go with a couple of reds, a green and a black, and that's sort of going to be my theme throughout. ink tents, because of course you will apply a tiny little bit of water to them and you iron them, and that means you can then wash them and they're not going to come out. So you want to make sure that you've got the right pencils for the job if you want to put colour on. So that's where I'm at. And instructions, of course. Now the instructions, let's have a look at. We don't need to worry about all of these bits at the minute. We want the back 2 pages. So here we go, drawing the flowers. This is the main one. And on here, you've got this page and that page. You've got 21 different flowers. You've got the little step outs, and then you can see how maybe they've been added together to create something a bit different. So, Maureen, you can use your normal pencils if you're not going to wash the quilt. If you are going to wash the quilt, then the normal pencils will wash out. So you need to be aware of that. The ones I'm using that don't wash out, of course you put a little bit of water in those. So you don't need a massive set. You just need, I don't know, a set of 12 would absolutely do you, because you don't need much. But these are the only ones I've found that will actually stay on when you've washed it. Okay. All right. So I thought the easiest way of doing it probably is to start here at the top left and work my way across and do one each week, or maybe, I don't know, get to 2, see how long it takes us to draw them. And then go from there. If you would rather do it and make your block first and then draw on it, you can do that as well. It doesn't matter. Of course, though, if you make a mistake, because, you know, these things happen, and you've made your block, then you're stuck with it. At least with this, it's it means that you've only sort of lost that sort of little square. So when I say a little square, what size is it? It will tell me here. So that is actually, look, fabric A. This will be the fabric you draw the images onto if you are going to. So fabric A, here we go. Cut 24¼ inch squares. Now, something you might want to notice when you're doing this, look, because cutting things, see, some say 4¾ it looks ever so close. So I would perhaps highlight these in different colours or put a little circle round, so you know when you actually come to cut this that they are different. See, that one says 1/4, you see, 1/4, and that one says 3/4, so just be aware. So the ones we're cutting for fabric A to draw on is 4¼ inch. Okay, all right, so let's have a look at this flower then, and I'm going to come straight in with my pen. If you would rather do it with friction pen, you can do that, and then of course you can rub out the bits you don't want to do anymore. And we've got this lovely little, sort of almost like a little sunny kind of flower, isn't it? And we've got 3 going on here. We could do that, we could do a few more, a few less. What you want to remember though is you don't want to go right up to the edge, because you're going to be using 1/4 inch seam allowance, so keep it in the middle, okay? If you need to, you could always get a tile, which I'm sure I've got one lying around somewhere. I did have. There we go. Look, just on cue. And you see, I could actually draw around that if I wanted, so I'd know that I'm not going to go outside of that little bit there. Okay, in fact, let's just do it. And I'm going to do it, look, with my friction pen, because then I can rub it away afterwards. All right, just gives me a bit of a guide. Okay. All right, so all good to go. I can see that line there. It's all right. So we've got to decide. Let's just start with 1. I'm going to come sort of in the middle, and I'm going to come up and up, and I'm going to create this little bit of a curved line and put a bobble on the end. Okay, so that's actually middle. It's come more than halfway up there. So let's go in a bit more. Okay. So I'm going to fill that in with a bit of ink there. Okay. And then because it's coming this way, this is sort of the back edge. So what I'm going to do is put another bubble on the back edge there. And again, I'm going to fill it in with ink. Oh, look at that. Then a little aura around that top edge. Just take your time with it. Okay. And I'm just going to sort of turn it slightly now, because it's just going to make life easier for me to draw. What we're going to do is start at one side, and I'm going to create like a little pointed petal shape like that, and then follow that round with these little shapes. Now usually we'd start in the middle and work around. You can still do that because sometimes you're going to get that little end bit. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to follow my way around with that. Something different. And then on starting at the point of each one, I'm going to come round and create this little curve from the top, see. Now you could curve it the other way. Remember, I'm left-handed, so I'm always going to go that way, but you can do it that way. And curve. And curve. Okay. So let's have a little look out there. So we want a few more of these. Now in the instructions it shows sort of 3, but I'm going to see where it leads. I'm not going to start at the bottom here. I'm going to come on in. I'm going to come up here a little bit. And again, a little bobble. Now remember with this, if you wanted to, you could actually machine stitch these patterns if you want to. And that would give you a few colours, and it will allow you to do a bit more stitching on it. If you're not sure, you know, we've all got these machines, haven't we, with all these fancy stitches. If you're not sure about using them, I have got a new product coming on Sewing Street at the end of this month, I think, where it sort of goes through how to sort of use machine stitching a bit more to tangle with. But you can do whatever way you want. If you were going to machine stitch it, I would probably use my friction pen and draw my line as a guide, and then go from there. Okay. So again, from the points, little curve. Now you can choose the layout of this. You can put in as few or as many as you like. So create whatever kind of design you want to do. So let's go. All right, that's nice. See, one's going that way, one's going that way. So I'm going to bring another one out here. And then probably another one. Now it doesn't all have to come from the same stem. So let's do another one. Sort of coming out on its own there. And that one's going to have the bobble that way. Just going to fill that in. One on the back there, and then this one is going to go that way, and then on the back there. You see how the fabric moves a little bit more when you don't have the interfacing in it, so you want to be a little bit lighter when you're drawing on it. Forget our little aura. So you almost want the pen to glide over the material, so you're not putting any pressure on it at all. Even if you've got to go over it twice, it doesn't matter. It's something you're going to get used to. Notice as well what I'm doing here is I'm going from the bottom up to the point. From the bottom up to the point. And that is a little bit easier to get those nice points together there. So again, from there, I'm going to put that curve in. My curve. And sort of keep working it along. Okay. Oh, same on this one. Again, you can hold it either side, and that gives it a bit of support. I'm trying to sort of give you as many hints and tips as I can go whilst I'm doing it, so you can choose which is right for you and which works best for you. But of course, if you want to put interfacing in, go ahead and do that. Just keep it light, because the rest of the piece isn't going to have any in. And these are slightly smaller pieces than the last. Okay, here we go. Not bad. So I'm going to add a couple more in. Again, looking at the instructions there, you see, this is what I'm working to. We've got 3 going on. So you can choose as few or as many as you like. And you make your own little picture. I know this time we're going to have, everybody's just going to be even more different. But that's a good thing. And we're going to work through it together. Okay. So again, see, bringing those little points up. Okay, if you get a little on the end, doesn't matter. Let's do those curves. Let me do that again a little bit bigger. Oh, Sue, that'd be nice. Absolutely, getting a bit of embroidery. That'd be lovely. I wonder actually if I've got my sort of applique bits lying around. My mum's been in today, so honestly, it could be anywhere. I'll show you the kind of things you could do with your machine. There we go. Because of course you can go as creative as you want to be. You don't have to have it just as a drawing. There we go. Okay. There we are. So I'm going to add a few extra bits in with the flowers. I think that's quite nice as well as we go, because if you've watched the videos, it's nice to have something a little bit extra to go with it, isn't it? So other than, you know, just following the instructions. So let's have a look at each of these petals. I'm going to just bring in a little dot, even littler dot, little dot, littler dot. And just gives it a little bit more interest. Okay. So you don't want them too big. Again, if you're going to embroider, Sue, these would be lovely as little French knots. Or you could do a French knot for this one and then have a line, a little mark for that one. So there's lots of options. So has everybody got their fabrics ready? Do you know what colours you're going to go with, or have you decided yet? See that one there? I'm not going to confuse it really. I'm going to leave that one. Oh, I never say that'd be amazing. Yeah. I know the colours, last time we all went for different options, which is brilliant. So it would be nice to see this. Actually, it would be nice to sort of have a bit of an exhibition. Maybe I think when we've done this one, or maybe actually if you want to send me like a plan view or plan photograph of your quilt you made before, then what would be nice is if I put them all together, you know, like we do with the tile swaps, put them all together as a big picture so you can see all the different ones. That'd be nice if you want to do that. Oh, I know, Patty, I know we've got problems with your order, haven't we? But yeah, so we can do it, because I know it's on its way, Patty. Actually, if I think on, I'll send you a copy of it, so at least you can make a start with us, because it's unfair you've got to wait. I've got my laptop sort of on the sofa, so if I haven't sent it you by this time tomorrow, just message me and say, Sandra, you promised, and I'll do that. Okay. So same sort of here. I'm going to sort of do some little dot dash lines. Maureen, they would be okay, yes. What I would suggest though is before you actually do anything with them is just test them on a bit of scrap paper, just to make sure you know, I don't know, if you know how far they're going to move, if they're going to move or anything like that. Okay. All right. See, some little sort of dots and dashes. So I'm going to come in and add some little bobbles. Now again, these are lovely as little leaves because they match with what we've got here, but let's just change it up a little bit. Oh, Terry, are you? Yeah, Spotty's lovely. It's a nice fabric to work with, but if they don't have any, always look for something else. See, the one I've got has quite a tangly pattern in it. Here we go, look. There you go. You see? So that's going to be quite nice. I'm going to reproduce this on there, so I've got two. Right, you see what I did there? Sorry, I did it without even thinking, didn't I? Sorry. So come on up, create a bobble. And then I'm going to extend a line past the bobble and just sort of fill it in, join it together. All right. So I'm going to add a few of those in. So you see, oh, in, bobble, little line, in we go. Okay. Oh, do you know, they're going to be fabulous, these. We're going to have so many different pictures, aren't we? See, I can do that way as well if you want. So it's a similar thing. So that way, look, I did up and then I came back down and put a bobble on. Gives it a similar one. And let's have one coming out here. Another is going to go up there and over there. Everything, that's not looking too bad. It's quite a lot over here, so if I look at the space there and the space there, I think we need something else. So let's bring that up and over there, and then up and over there. That's nice. And one there too. So see, let's have a look at that. Yeah, they are kind of thin, Chris, aren't they, actually? So they're almost like little bud kind of things, and we can just keep adding and adding. There we go. Okay, so I'm getting quite close now to the top there, which I don't want to do anymore because, of course, don't forget our seam allowance around there. So let's just have a little look at that and the whole thing. So here we go. If I just put that top line in so we can see it. I know it's there, but you see? There it is. So we've got a similar amount of space. Two sides we've got a bit more, and that's absolutely fine. So I'm going to go with that. And we could add more little dots in there on some of them. So just sort of working it round. Don't have to do it on all, but again, it's just giving it that little bit of difference, isn't it? Let's have a little look at that. Okay. So colour-wise, there's not really much colouring to do on this. So I'm probably not going to need my black at all. It's coming in a little bit here. So I've got a couple of reds. See, I've got a slightly darker and a lighter one. And this, if you're using the same as me, there you go, that's the ones I'm using. Okay, and my green, there we go, is the leaf green colour. Okay, so if I start with my lighter red, what I'm going to do is just add a little bit just in the bottoms of those sort of petal shapes. Let's put another two down. And again, just a little bit along there as well. Remember, they'll get a little bit more intense when I put a bit of water on them, but I don't, again, I might just touch them ever so gently with a bit. I don't really want them to bleed too much. Now on the original quilt, I did let them go. I let them wander out the lines because it just gives it a bit more of a vintagey feel. Hi Jane. Oh, don't worry about it. You can catch up later. You know, I think we know what we're doing. So we've just started with the first one, the first flower. So yeah, so I did let that other one go out the lines because, again, I say it was a little bit more vintagey. But this one, I think, you know, the colours, it's sort of, I think, demanding a bit more of a precise stay in the lines this time. So I think that's what I'll probably do. Maybe it'll change. I don't know. All right. You see, just sort of touching that bit of colour in there. Again, notice that I'm using my finger to sort of hold the fabric in place as I go around it, because, you know, trying to colour on fabric that's got no interfacing on it. But we know what we're doing now, so it'll be good. So I'm going to come in with my green, and again, just touching in the bottom. Not so much as the red. I'm going to put a little bit in there. So I'm not going to worry about trying to blend and shade colours. They're quite small, so it's not necessary. It's just giving it a little hint as we go in. Okay. And so it's going to intensify a little bit anyway, but don't want too much in there. Okay. So I'm going to just add a little bit just on a couple of these dots there, just so we know that that's going into greeny, a bit more on there. Okay. Now if you want to colour these in instead of actually colouring them in black, that's something else you can do as well. Or you can add more lines. You can add a little bit of grounding if you want to there. But I think actually that's probably as much as I'm going to do. I think maybe even fabric paints. Imagine doing these in a little bit of glitter. So let me just see if I can find that piece that's got some embroidery on it, or some machine embroidery. Now, where would we put it? 1 second. Here we go. She did like one quite a lot actually, and I thought, hey up, that one's going to be going. All right, so here we go. You'll all be familiar with Locket Lane, which we did on Hobby Maker the other day. This is Locket Lane Sewing Street. So let's have a quick look. So see here, these little leaves. That's a machine stitch. You could draw that, but we're tangling now. And then let's have a look what else we've got. So we've got this sort of really odd mottled kind of impression, which we've done before as a tangle. And then look, I've got some little like rivets and just straight stitch and satin stitch and things like that. Even up here, look, this looks a bit like leaves. So if you actually want to go ahead and you want to machine it instead of draw it, you can certainly do that. That would be lovely. But what I would do with it is I would definitely interface the back before you do any machine stitching on it at all. So with regards to how that's done and sorted, that is pretty much it. So what we can do is this one, we can tick it off as done. So not a problem at all. Now, I think for our first one, that's probably enough for today, because of course we've all got to get our fabrics sorted. We've got to have a go and make sure that we know what we're doing. And then maybe next weekend. On next weekend I have classes. So it's going to sort of be 7 o'clock in the evening. We'll probably get 2 done, because once you know what you're doing, I perhaps won't have to colour it in so much and go through all the different fabrics with you. But just as I was saying, I've got one in the background. You see it's not gone on it. It's not gone through. This is a very, very light cotton. So it's not going to make a problem if you have another one underneath it. So there we go. Super excited. That's our very first one that we've sort of got done and sorted. So what I'll do now, touch of water on there, iron it off, get rid of these lines, and then that one is done, ready for the next. So hope you've enjoyed that one. And yeah, let me see how you're getting on with it. Please send me pictures of your other quilt if it's done. I'll put them all together as one big one. And yeah, I'll see you next week, and we'll perhaps do 2 and 3 of the next ones on the sort of the list at 7 o'clock, because I've got classes next week in at HQ. So okay, have fun with this one, and I will see you next week. All right, everybody, take care. Bye.